the milestones in the life of Therese. And I believe that most of the listeners have read the either biography or the autobiography of Saint Therese. I just want to highlight a few points. Therese, as we said in La Bissonnette, she was going normally like attending the school and so on. But at the age of 10, she had a mysterious illness. She had convulsions, insomnia, vomiting, and so on. So the family could not understand why. So Dr. Cornea, the family doctor, was called in, and he said, this is very unusual for a child of that age, 10 years. And now many say it was an emotional problem. She had lost her mother at the age of 4.5. Then her second mother, Pauline, she entered CARMEL, and this 82, and this sickness starts in 89, just 5 months or 6 months after Pauline's entrance. So immediate cause of this ailment is the absence of Pauline, absence of love, absence of a stepmother. But then she gets cured by looking at the statue of Our Lady, which we have seen. It is now kept at Lisieux CARMEL above the casket of Little Flower in the Lisieux CARMEL church. And she felt that Our Lady looked at her and smiled. Maybe she might have projected a loving mother. Anyway, she was healed. That was the first incident with which we need to mention that. And second one, her grace of Christmas. Some call it conversion of Christmas. That happened in this way. In 85, when she was almost 14 years, on a Christmas night, when the family returned from the church after the midnight service, there was the custom of the youngest child is given gifts, and they say the gifts will be kept in a chimney or some hidden place, and children were told it was brought by Santa Claus. Actually, the parents would do it. And Therese used to take from the chimney, it was kept in a shoe. Every year she used to take out one piece or another, and there's a burst of laughter and so on, and Papa used to enjoy that. And that particular Christmas, 86, when Louis Martin, somehow he was tired, and he made a little annoying statement. Finally, this is the last year, which Therese did not expect, because she thought he would embrace her and please her in every way, but this was a sort of annoyance. So she wanted to weep, but she controlled there and went upstairs to change, because their bedroom is always in the first floor. She changed, then she wanted to come down. Céline said, Therese, don't go now, because Céline knew she would weep. But Therese was a different person. She gained courage, came down, and behaved with Papa as if nothing happened. And that change, going from the ground floor to the first floor and coming down, that was a grace of Christmas, she says. And some call it the conversion of Christmas. That was not that she was a sinner to be converted. From a childish Therese becomes an adult, mature girl. And that's an important event in her life. And then, once she became 15 almost, she told Papa her desire to join CARMEL. And she had to surmount 5 hurdles. First, Papa, who discouraged her because you are too young. You don't know anything of anything. And then Therese's argument, Papa, how can Jesus give me the desire and not being able to fulfill it? It is he who inspired this. And then Papa yielded and he gave a white lily as a symbol of her future virginity, vow of chastity. And second was the uncle. Uncle Isidore, though he was younger to Azali, the mother. There is a difference between Louis Martin and Isidore of almost 15 years. But he was an authority in the family. In taking decision about the children, he was important. And Therese was afraid what would be the result. And Isidore said, well, wait for 3 days. The 3 days of agony, because he said no, Papa would not resist. Somehow he also allowed. Then comes the chaplain of Lisieux CARMEL, Father Doctrine. He said no, because he was afraid on one of those days, one young candidate in Lisieux CARMEL died, maybe because of severe cold and also very poor life. And he didn't want to have another child also. Maybe he was afraid the child would die because of extreme cold, no heating and so on. So he said no. And unless the bishop says, on my side, I won't allow. And then the fourth one, she went to see the Bishop of Bayeux. It is there, you might have seen her among the pictures, Therese with a very good hairstyle and so on. That to show to the bishop, I am a mature woman, grown-up woman. And bishop also did not give a positive reply. Then last resort to the Pope. It coincided with that pilgrimage they had on the occasion of the golden jubilee of priesthood of Pope Leo XIII. While each pilgrim was given a chance to talk to the Pope, Therese said, Holy Father, I want to be Carmelite. And she argues with him. He said, well, if and when the superiors will it. Then she retorted, if you allow, all the superiors will allow. But he was silent. She was sent away. And they returned on the 2nd of December, 87, and completely frustrated. And they wrote to the bishop, asking for permission, because bishop asked them to wait until 15. And actually, she wanted to be in Carmel for the Christmas was of 87, because that previous Christmas was her conversion, her grace. On the anniversary day, it was her dream to attend the mass from behind the grill. But nothing happened. And she used to go to the post office every day, no sign. And by the time the bishop gave a positive answer, it was January 88. Then the community said it is too cold here, no heating, so please wait until spring. That's why she entered Carmel on the 8th of April 1888. And her life in Carmel we have seen through all her teachings. So this would be the life before Carmel and after Carmel. Now I wish to introduce to you her writings. Usually we refer to her autobiography, which is in English is called Story of a Soul. But it has a different story. It is nothing to do with a book. It is 3 manuscripts. That's why in the modern edition they say manuscrits autobiographic, the autobiographic manuscripts. It happened this way. In 1895, that is 3 years before her death, the four sisters were having a friendly chat in the community. And from the way, and she was attention of all the four, and she was talking. And Maria noticed that it's not merely chatting some family matters, there was some spiritual message. So she told her younger sister, though younger, but the prioress, Pauline, ask Therese to write her childhood memories. And she wrote this much. This is the first manuscript A written to Pauline. And she presented this as a feast gift to Agnes on 96 January 20th. But because Pauline was so busy as a prioress, she could not read it until the following year. In between, in 96, the elder sister Maria, she also asked Therese to write something. And this is the difference between Pauline's the relation and with Maria. In the original, hardly 10 pages, but it contains the beautiful doctrine on the love of her vocation as love for priesthood and so on. And it is rich, but only thing is the minimum. And in 97 January, Therese ceased to be, Pauline ceases to be the prioress. Father Gonzague takes charge. And Therese has Pauline has enough time to read. And when she read it, it is only until she entered CARMEL. So she went to the present prioress Gonzague and requested her to ask Therese to write her experience in CARMEL. And that's how the third manuscript written to manuscript C, written to Mother Gonzague. So we have three manuscripts. Manuscript A to Pauline, B to Maria, and third to Gonzague. And this was written hardly 3 months before her death. It was in June that Pauline asked. And it went on. The following year, on the first death anniversary of Therese, Pauline wanted to publish it. But then Gonzague, as we call it, so selfish, she told Pauline, well, you can publish it, provided you must rewrite in such a way that all the three were addressed to me. And Pauline obliged. She corrected it. And that's why in some place we will find some italics. The corrected form, Pauline published on the first death anniversary, and that is this story of a soul. This has no title, no headings, no side paragraph, just 3 letters or 3 essays like that if you want. But this was, it has given a form and shape and so on by Pauline. And how did we know that Mother Gonzague did this? When the cause of canonization was taken up, there is one session on the writings of that servant of God. It is there, Maria, who told the tribunal, it is actually, these were not written to Gonzague, to Pauline, me, and then the Vatican was furious, So he was given the order in the 50s, 1950s, to go back to the original using ultraviolet ray and so on. And that's how we have this manuscript. So originally 3 manuscripts which took the shape of a book, and everything was done by Pauline. I mean, written but giving the chapter titles, all those things are the work of Pauline. Then we have another writing, which is her 268 in cours de Réan lettres. 268 letters. This shows her gradual development, spiritual development from childhood to until she reached almost the last part of her life. Then we have 21 prayers. Prayer, and it was written by Therese. And usually in most of the institutions, there is a prayer for priests. You know, you are familiar with that formula. But when I checked, that prayer is, and it was attributed to Little Flower, I don't know how. But it is not included among these 21. It is completely different. Then we have 54 poems. That is, in Carmel, there was the custom of composing a few verses on a feast day, on the feast day of the prayers, and so on special occasions. And Therese was actually that those verses were supposed to be composed by the assistant prayers, but she was not good in writing poem. So Mother Pauline asked Therese to write these poems. And among the poems, some are beautiful. There is one to the Sacred Heart, one to the Holy Spirit, one to Our Lady, and so on. And I don't know if they are available in English, but this is another work. Then there are 8 plays, drama. The most famous is play on Joan of Arc. It is Therese who wrote it, and also one of the actors. So it is called Théâtre au Carmel, Plays in Carmel. Then we have another popular writing called The Last Conversations, which here it is written, I enter into the life. And these were written when Therese was taken to the infirmary 2.5 months before her death. Conversations which the sisters asked her certain things, and Therese gave a reply, which the sisters wrote it. And the difference between this one, this also let me tell you then, this is Souvenir and Counsels. It was mainly written by Céline. Interestingly, when Céline joined Carmel after the death of Papa, Therese was already in Carmel and she was their assistant prayer and novice mistress. So Céline was under the guidance of Therese as the mistress. And as a novice mistress, she had given several advice, counsels, and souvenirs. And it was written by Céline. Now the difference between these two, the other, all the 5 are her own work. But here, the ideas are of Therese. The form of writing, this was one by the sisters, mainly Pauline. And this was by Céline. So these 2 works are to be seen in a very indirect, general way. Once I repeat, the ideas belong to Therese, but the form of writing belong to the other sisters. So we have that way 7 writings. But more popular is the autobiography, the letters, last conversations. As we get a chance of reading its English translation, it would be interesting to go through it. So that would be the last message. So now she has conveyed her message through these writings.